Hey everyone, Charlie here, and welcome to One Cup of Japan. This is a show where we have a conversation over something good that soothes you. This morning, as always, we are here in Sabai City, Fukui Prefecture. It's on the west coast of Japan. It's a beautiful, beautiful morning here. We're just walking into a local shrine. Recently, the greens have just been exploding. I feel like it's almost like, somebody has turned up the color settings on the Instagram settings or something like that. That's how much it seems like the greens seem to be popping. Pardon me, today we are wearing a mask because we're not going to be out in the middle of nowhere. We're going to be in places where we're probably going to run into some people. So better to keep our masks on this morning. Today, I want to make some announcements here at the beginning of the video before we get into the topic. This is the last normal episode of One Cuppa of the season. The last one we're going to be walking around and just sort of shooting the shit kind of thing. The next pre-recorded episode will be out on, I want to say it'll be Friday, June 5th or something like that. Maybe June 5th. And that will be our deep roast episode, which is a research-based episode. We're going to be in the apartment, I'm sorry, but we're going to be talking about Japan's drinking culture. History, numbers, decline, all that kind of stuff. So please be sure to check that out. I love this place so much. Before that happens, however, next Friday on the channel at Friday, May 29th at 11 a.m. Japan time, there will be a live stream on the channel. Looks like they're doing some construction here, so I want to get my way through. Make sure we're not filming them. Ohayou gozaimasu. There will be a live stream on the channel at 11 a.m. Japan time on May 29th. It's a Friday. And basically we're going to be doing a recap. Of course, we're going to be talking about more things than just that. But I was going to be talking about some news for this show and also about a podcast that I'm going to be starting. I want to talk about that. And it's going to be good. I enjoyed the last live stream we did, so please be sure to check that out. On the following day, which will be Saturday, May 30th at 8:30 p.m. Japan Standard Time, I will be over as a guest on Simon no Chanama, which is a talk series hosted by Simon, formerly of Three Old Dudes. So I'm interested to do that. One of the things I was really hoping would happen when I started getting back into this is that I would be asked to come on some other people's channels, especially these kind of live shows, because I really enjoy doing them. And I really used to be honest, I didn't really like doing Three Old Dudes too much. I didn't like being on that show too much for a variety of reasons, but I always liked Simon. He's a generally interesting character, so I'm looking forward to being on that show. So please check it out. So without further ado, let's hop into our discussion points for today. Maybe the big thing I want to talk about today is MUJIRUSHI. There's a lady over there who's like got her hands up to the sky and is just like really enjoying the beautiful day. She's spinning around and doing a little dance. I love that. It's so nice to see people just appreciating the day, and why not, and why wouldn't you? And probably that lady, like many other people, has been trapped in her house for however long. But I want to talk about MUJIRUSHI a little bit here. And if you don't know about MUJIRUSHI, or Muji as we call it, outside of this country, I guess. There's a beautiful view. There's some construction going on there. Unfortunately, a home burned down a couple weeks ago. People I know, sad to say. So Muji is like, I guess, MUJIRUSHI means sort of like without branding kind of thing. And so if you go there and you buy their products, it's not like you'll never have a shirt that says like MUJIRUSHI in big letters on the shirt or something like that, you know? Or you won't buy a lamp or something that has like MUJIRUSHI written on it in big letters or something like that, which I guess would be a strange thing for any lamp to have a brand written on it in such big letters. But anyhow, the thing is that they're well known for that, and they're well known because the design is sort of like super modern, super simple. So in my apartment, my partner and I, we've got quite a few things from MUJIRUSHI, like an aroma diffuser, some dishes. I have some clothes from MUJIRUSHI, a bunch of different stuff. And actually, my little brother, who is I love this effect, this sort of like green tunnel effect. Give me more, give me more. Ooh, there's some kind of creature in my face. My little brother, who's a soon-to-be graduated student of design, is a big fan. So like Muji is one of the things that we've gifted to him for Christmas, and unfortunately we couldn't send anything for his birthday this year because of the international postage ban. It's my friend's restaurant here. Super good shrimp curry and karage, if ever you're in the neighborhood. Unlikely, I imagine. But anyhow. So yeah, Muji, super popular. And one of the things that's interesting about Muji is that they tend to, the design is simple, but also they tend to use like really high quality like materials. However, that being said, it's a little bit suspicious because they don't really release a lot of information about their production, like where things are produced and all that kind of jazz, and how things are produced and who is producing their products and stuff like that. So I feel a little bit sketchy about it, to be honest, because I really want to embrace them as like a modern company. Ooh, some beautiful looking kind of suspicious guys there. I really want to embrace them as like a modern, sustainable, like conscious company and that kind of thing. But I can't do so completely. But anyway, I'm hoping for the best. This is not actually a sponsored video. This is just me spouting off my love. Now, the reason why we're talking about Muji, there is a reason more than just my fanboying over them, is that yesterday I saw the news that as of May, oh yeah, that's right, May 20th. I even when I was reading the news yesterday, I didn't realize how soon it is, because we all live in this time warp where like sort of days and dates, the meaning has sort of ceased to exist. Somebody had a puncture, looks like. But as of May 20th, which is just 5 days from now, 5 days from when I'm shooting this, they are going to start selling special senbei. Senbei is like it's a rice cracker. And what is special about it, you might ask? Let's check the time. Got a lesson here, about an hour and a half. What's special about it, you might ask? The crackers are made from crickets. Now that in itself is nothing extraordinary. People in many places around the world have relied on insect protein as a cheap and sort of super reliable way to get some good protein in their diet, that kind of thing. But of course, Japan is not one of those places, right? There are some places like here in the countryside where there is I don't want to make one of those statements like people in Japan eat like bee larvae. But some people here do in the countryside. So, and sometimes if you're really out in the super countryside, dilapidated old building over there, beautiful. If you can find like stands that they sell like jars of bee larvae. I'm really concerned about how I'm pronouncing that word, and stuff like that. But other than that, at least to the best of my knowledge, it's not really a thing. This is actually I've done a short 2 to 3 minute like focus video on this shrine before, but still love this place. It's beautiful. As you can see over there straight ahead, there's sort of like those spikes hellishly sticking out of the ground, those are bamboo shoots, or they're not so much shoots anymore, but they're freshly growing bamboo. Takenoko or take. Takenoko means bamboo shoot. Take means bamboo. These are tsutsuji. And as I say, they're starting to sell these crackers, these rice crackers that are made using korogi, which means cricket. And in a place like this, right, like pretty much everybody I talk to, my partner and my partner's family, were like, not doing it kind of thing. But what's really interesting about it is because Muji is such a big and sort of famous, well-known, there's a bee going about his work. Let's try not to disturb him. If you can see him straight ahead there on that tsutsuji, he's trying to get the pollen out of there. Oh, there he is. It's really, really interesting that a company as big as Muji is taking like a step like that. And it's a small step, admittedly, because it's not like they're like, okay, well, we're gonna be selling packages of pickled crickets, right? They're just gonna be presumably grinding them up and putting them into these rice crackers. But I still think it's really, really cool, because it's something that I worry about a lot. I am sort of like I can't say that I'm a vegetarian, I can't say that I'm a vegan or something like that, but I am sort of conscious about where things come from, and I try to buy as much as possible local, and I try to eat only a little bit of meat and that kind of thing. So it's kind of may sound like a lukewarm approach to conscious eating habits, I suppose. But it's something I want to try and at least try to support, because I think that's the direction things are going, right? Realistically, if you look at population growth and like, of course, there's the global warming problem and everything else like that, it's completely unsustainable for us to keep trying to supply traditional protein sources to a population as big as it's going to get. So I really think it's fantastic. It's just something I wanted to talk about. I would, of course, love to know if you have a insect eating culture where you're from, or maybe it's not something that's popular where you're from, but it's something that you do. I'd love to hear about it. And I don't have that kind of experience. The most experience I have with insects is being assaulted by spiders. Well, I break into their home, so really, who's doing the assaulting? But seriously, I've just had like chocolate covered crickets and ants and that kind of thing before, but nothing beyond that. So I'm kyomibukai, as they say. Got a very, why can't I only directly translate this in my head? I'm super interested in how that will turn out and if it'll be a successful initiative or not. So some kuzuvine on this tree. Parasitic from what I understand, so probably it's gonna kill that tree, sadly. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about that down in the comments below. Next thing I want to talk about is just before I filmed this video, I went to Family 11, I was going to say Family Mart, to well, first to buy this tea for our 1 cup of here, and also because I think many different countries around the world, Japan has a national like a stimulus package that for all residents of Japan. So I think, I'm not sure exactly about the details, because to be honest, as soon as I found out that that I was eligible for the stimulus, that's all I cared about. But from what I understand, it's a residents of Japan. I think, and if you've been here more than 90 days, you qualify for the stimulus package. And basically, you will receive a one-time 100,000 yen, 100,000 yen payment from the government. I don't want to say payout because I fucking hate that mentality. Payment from the government after you fill out like a form and provide some identification. There's also like well, I'll talk about that in a moment, but so for example, I had to fill out this very simple like pink form that actually had a lot of my information already printed on it. So basically what I did was confirm the information by copying it one more time onto the form. I had to input my bank account information, and then I had to send copies of the first page of my bank book, which has like my account information on it, and then some like personal identification. So I sent, you only have to send one, but I sent, just to be sure, just to be safe, I sent a copy of my Gaijin card, my Zairyu card, and of my health insurance card. And then that's basically it. So I just put that in the mailbox, and I'm super worried about whether or not I did it correctly. I'm sure I did, but it's just a unfortunate facet of my nature that I'm gonna worry about it until, you know, the cash hits my account kind of thing. So it's interesting, you know, I think it's a good thing. It's a really, really good thing that they're doing that, because there are a lot of people who, if they haven't outright lost their jobs, they've at least, well, they've effectively lost their jobs for the time being, right? Fukui Prefecture, I don't think I've made any secret that I'm not a fan, and I'm disappointed with how Japan reacted to the situation. When I say Japan, of course, I mean the federal government, the national government. Although I am a fan of this national stimulus plan. There's a Shima Inu over here, guardians of the shrine. An interesting note, take a look here. Shima Inu is, his body is facing to the side, but his face is facing forward. In the game Animal Crossing, you can get Shima Inu. We have some of them on our island, because we have like a shrine-like area on our island. And the design for those is funky, because they face straight forward as opposed to facing their body being to the side and their face being forward. Just a little note, my partner was grumbling about it a little bit, so I thought it was interesting. But Fukui Prefecture has actually been really, really great. The governor here has been very proactive. This was the first prefecture in the country to enact like a state funded is not the right word, state initiated like mask buying program, where basically every household in the country received, not every household, so every individual in the country received like not the country, the province, the prefecture received like a ticket, and for like 2,700 yen, you could buy 50 masks. You're guaranteed to be able to buy 50 masks at one of the big super drugstore chains in the prefecture. And the governor here has also been really pretty strict with making sure that businesses were shutting down and naming names if they weren't shutting down during the lockdown time and stuff like that. And as a result, although I am a little bit loath to trust the numbers, that bird you just heard is called the ugris. I don't actually know the name in English. It's one of the things that happens, is you come to learn like names of birds that populate other countries in the world, maybe even your home country, but you never bother to learn the name in English, so you only know it in Japanese. Same thing happens with fish if you eat sushi, that kind of thing. But anyway, I'm sort of belaboring the point here just to say that Fukui has been much more proactive and adequately reactive than many other places around the country, including what everybody seems to think is the only place in Japan, Tokyo. If that sounds a little bit embittered, it's because I am. So now what's happening is small businesses in Fukui, as of this past Monday, have received governmental approval. Approval is not the word I'm looking for. Permission to reopen. So my school has reopened, and I'm really, really lucky. I'm more lucky than a lot of other people who are in those more populated areas, who not only did like their school shut down or that were they not able to work, but their company wasn't paying them their full wages, which I'm not sure. From what I understand, like if your company forces you to stay home because of a situation like this, they're legally supposed to pay you 60% of your wages or something to that effect. I'm lucky in that I received 100% of my wages because I was still working most of the time. And despite my issues with my company, even if I wasn't working full time, I probably would have received full wages, because there's good and bad to the sort of old style of thinking that my company owner has. So that's one of the benefits, certainly, is that you should be paid regardless of the situation. So let's keep on walking here. Let's check our time. I'm sorry to make it seem like I'm rushing this, guys. I just want to make sure that I'm not missing my lesson later. That's one thing, though, that has been impacted certainly by the situation, is that maybe I'm losing about $400 a month because I can't meet with my private students. So that's a little bit of a kick in the huevos, but like, what are you gonna do, you know? So I just went and filled out that application, and apparently in Fukui Prefecture, people are getting their payments very, very quickly, which is really, really encouraging. And as I say, I'm really impressed by the response, the governmental response here in Fukui Prefecture. And we have had no new cases of corona, no confirmed cases of corona in 2 weeks. Although, as I say, I'm reticent to believe that's true, but I'm hopeful that it is true, that there are no new corona people. But it was one of the situations here where, because the numbers were consistently pretty low, they could trace where all of like the, how can I say, what do they call them? Like the virgin patient, like where people were contracting the sickness from, and doing a good job of making sure people were staying away from other people if they had contact with those origin points. So here's one thing you see here a lot, is this the spinning barbershop thing. See it a lot. And it's interesting because I never knew about them much, but like, to me, they're kind of like a hallmark of like old Americana. You know, you see them very, very often, at least in my part of the States. Very, very infrequently, I should say. And it's interesting how many times I've been told here, like, oh, do you like seeing those? Like, does it make it remind you of home? And I'm like, well, no. And then I've been told about how, like, I think the red represents like blood, and the blue represents like bandage and like medical care. Who knew? But yeah, so yeah, that's I guess all I want to say about that, the payment thing. I do want to say that in like a strange twist of fate, what's happening, right, is there maybe, oh God, I can't even remember exactly when it was, but I want to say maybe as many as 4 years ago, there was the introduction of this system called My Number system. And basically it's like a social security system, right, where you have a social security card. I don't know how it works in other countries, but in the States you have a social security card and a number, and everything is tied to that number, right? Like your credit, everything else, like it has all of your like identifying information. So when you apply for a school loan, you have to provide your social security number. When you apply for a driver's license, you have to provide your social security number. It's basically that kind of system, although after sort of introducing this system and sending out the My Number cards to people, I don't know what happened to the system, because I've had to show like that ID maybe one time. Like I had to give it to my company, like a copy of it to my company. And I don't think I've actually used it since then. Other than just providing copies for record keeping purposes. But what's happening now is that for the stimulus package, for the stimulus payment, you can apply online, or you can apply by mail, by snail mail, I mean. And what's happening here is that people, when they got the My Number card, the paper card, I guess because people didn't really want to adopt the system, they didn't apply for like the laminate card, right, where you could get your picture taken and you could get like an actual like an ID card. It was your My Number card with like, you know, your information and your picture on it. It was laminated. It was a really nice card, but because of the poor reception to it, like there's a lot of controversy around it, you know. It's a private walkway, well, just in case. Not a lot of people did that. And so what's happening now is that you need that card if you want to apply online. And so people, of course, are thinking, well, if I apply online, I'll get my money faster. But now I need that card. So what's happening is people are rushing the city hall to apply for this laminate version of their My Number card. And in sort of like a, you know, it's ironic because what people are doing in hopes of getting it faster is kind of ensuring that they're going to get their payment more slowly, because it's going to take, they say, like 1 to 2 months to process all these applications for these laminate cards. And so people who apply online are going to have to wait a couple months, whereas people who are applying by paper, basically this paper application that goes to the mayor's office of your city, and the mayor looks at it, makes sure everything's okay, and he stamps it, or his proxy stamps it, I'm sure, because there's going to be thousands upon thousands of these things. And so the online version will end up being slower. Have I made a mistake here? The online version will end up being slower than the paper version, which is so incredibly Japanese to me. Like, even when there's something that takes a foot into like the modern era, the old ways still remain best, right? Like that mentality is why fax machines are still so popular, right? Creepy cave. Pennywise is gonna come get me. That's why it's still popular. So it's interesting. It's really interesting, you know. Oh, it's a weird acoustic effect. I really have to use the facilities. So that's what's going on. But there is sort of like, as you'd imagine, like, how do I want to start this? There has been a lot of like positive feedback as a result of this plan, right? But as in other places around the world, well, I guess I should speak from the States, there has also been some like pushback against this kind of thing, right? Because government shouldn't be giving these handouts and that kind of thing. And I really take issue, like, I don't even remember maybe it was like the Yomiuri Shimbun or something like that, who tend to be like a real bitch of the Abe administration, where like government handout delayed. And I take such issue. It's interesting. There's a newer house being built, and they have kind of like a fake mortar to look like a more traditional house kind of thing. Interesting. And I take such issue with this mentality of a payout, right? Like payout, handout, that kind of language is just so, like, where do you think that money is coming from? Right? And it's the same people who were bitching because foreigners were going to get the payment too. Like, bitch, I've been paying taxes here for 6 years. You know, I'm paying into a pension system that there's a high likelihood I'm not going to get anything from when I retire. Like, shut up, you know? And it's just like, I don't know, man. Like, as I say, I am fortunate in that the financial damage that I have sustained is, you know, I can live. I don't have any trouble living right now. But there are people who have kids, or they have sick family members that they're taking care of, who need this, man, because they just, you know, what else are they gonna do? And it's just like, you know, that's a whole nother thing. But it's just like, I don't get it, you know? And it's not as though somebody's just like giving you money that like you don't have any right to, right? Like the thing is, that was probably your money to begin with, you know? And I am not against taxes by any measure, you know? But it's just like, the whole point of paying taxes is so that the government can provide you with a stable way of life by governing things. That's the whole point, you know? So, well, anyway, that seems like a pretty good place to end this. But I would like to hear, of course, in your prospective places. I know we have people watching from all over the world, from Mexico, from the States, from Norway, Canada, wherever you're from, I'd like to know, like, how have the government, like, relief projects been in your place? Like, are there stimulus packages? What is the reception to them? Are they being rolled out effectively? Are you getting your money quickly? That kind of thing. I really love to hear about how things are going around the world. So on that note, as we finish our cuppa, I will say goodbye to you guys, and I hope you're all doing well. I will see you all very soon indeed. Thank you for watching. Cheers.